even this one, which I have been known to abbreviate in the past. Reading from John, the 9th chapter. Jesus went along and saw a man blind from birth. And the disciples said to him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither sinned, said Jesus. This happened so that the work of God might be displayed in his life. As long as it is day, we must do the work of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. And after he said this, he spit upon the ground, he made some mud, and put it on the man's eyes. Go, wash in the pool of Siloam. So the man went, washed, and came home seeing. His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, Isn't this the same man who used to sit here and beg? And others said, No, he only looks like him. But he said, I am the man. How were your eyes open? And he said, The man they called Jesus made mud, put it upon my eyes, and told me to go to Siloam and wash. I went, washed, I could see. Where is this man? I don't know. So they brought him to the Pharisees, the man who had been blind. And on the day which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was the Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. And he said, He put mud on my eyes. I washed and now I see. And some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. But others said, How can a sinner do such a miraculous sign? So they were divided. They turned to the blind man and said, What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened. Well, he's a prophet. And the Jews still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight. So they sent for the man's parents. Is this your son? Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see? We know he is our son, and we know he was born blind. But how he can see now or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He's an adult. He may speak for himself. The word from the Lord in the house of the Lord. Sometimes we understand the parables of Jesus, the metaphors of Jesus, and sometimes they go right there. The last of Jesse's family was chosen to be the king. Now Samuel was a prophet, but he was not a brave prophet. He did not want to go to see Jesse and to anoint the new king because he knew the old king was not going to be happy with that. That's why the Lord said, you just go and tell him that you're going to make an offering. And you invite them all to the barbecue. When they're all there, then you can pick out the one that I tell you to and anoint him as the new king. And Samuel was still not very happy about his mission to name the new king. Because old kings always have ears to the ground and spies around and so forth. And we fear the known so much more, or the unknown so much more than we fear the known, that Samuel just couldn't bring himself to be brave enough to say, God sent me to do this. Because he feared for his life, and probably rightly so. Because Saul by that time had become pretty deranged himself, power hungry, willing to kill to keep his station, and so Samuel was probably right in taking precautions. We all ought to take precautions when we're dealing with risky situations, but it doesn't mean that we should hide from them. It doesn't mean that we have permission from God to not step out in his name and do things. And that's what Samuel was asked to do. Just listen to God and do it. Now, you pay me to listen to God and tell you about it, so I don't have to do it. But you do. You're on that end of it. And being blind is not necessarily just without sight. Because oftentimes we don't see things right as we drive to come over, as I drive to come over here at the first intersection on Pinion, there are a series of cacti, many cacti, and they're all in bloom, and they're gorgeous. But you know, when I'm going the other way, I never see them, because people come around that corner really weird, and I'm watching for traffic. I'm protecting myself from a situation that I'm pretty sure could happen. And in doing so, I sometimes forget that the miracles of God, the wonder of God, the gifts of God are right there in front of me. Because I am so, at that moment, concerned with me that I forget that God is concerned with me. Those of you who saw the shack remember that God said, "I've loved you every moment." We're blind. We don't see what it is that God has in store for us. We don't see the miracles that He wants us to perform. He wants us to name the new king of a household. He wants us to name the new king of a community. He wants us to draft somebody into Christ's army. The blind man could see. And they said, "How can you see?" He put mud in my eyes. That would blind me. But we downgrade the miraculous love that God has for us each day, because none of you who were stricken blind at birth and got your sight back because somebody put mud in your eye. But is it any less miraculous that in 2 weeks I'm going to be able to see who's sitting in the back of the church? Or 3 weeks, I guess it is now. No, it's no less miraculous, because God has provided us with people who have skills that are beyond the ordinary, skills that are extraordinary, and they can, boy, I hate to even think about it, they can pluck part of my eye out and fix it. But I may still be blind. When I come to that corner, will I be looking at God's miracles, or will I be looking for a traffic accident? It's a matter of perspective as we look at how God loves us and how we can love Him back, as to what it is that we see with the eyes that are open. For the blind man went through his life, all he could do was beg. All he could do was sit and hope that someone would give him. We have people in our societies now who are just as blind as that man was, who are unwilling to trust the promises of God, to lift them up and make them whole, to open their spiritual eyes that they can see what it is that God gives to us. Helga does a great job on the flowers every week. Every week they're gorgeous. But God made the flowers. We give Helga the credit. It's kind of like the farmer who had done really, really well, and his farm was beautiful. He'd only had the farm for about 20 years. He took it over after it was foreclosed, and he got it back in beautiful shape, and all the weeds were cut, and the lawn was mowed, and the house was painted, and the barn was good. And the pastor stopped by, talking to him one day, and he said, "Boy, John," said, "you and God, God has done a wonderful thing with the land that you have here." And he said, "Yeah, but you should have seen it when he was working it by himself." The miracles that are going to happen aren't because God's going to do them. The miracles are going to happen because God inspired you to do them. Because He opened your eyes that you could see the needs, that He would open your ears that you could hear the complaints and the prayers, and He would stimulate your heart to do the things that you're capable of, that you never realized you could. That's when miracles happen. That's when the blind can see again. Not because we're going to put mud in their eye, but because God will open the eyes of their heart through us. We're in the middle of that equation. We're the equal sign. If you like math, Every equation had to balance, right? So you got God on one side and the needy on the other, and we're the equal sign in the middle. That makes it happen. God doesn't do miracles all by himself. Jesus used the element of mud to make a miracle happen, to demonstrate, as he said, not the fact that there were sins in the family, but rather that the works of God could be displayed because they are real. And we are in the same boat. We need to open our eyes first, and then we need to put mud on the eyes of those who can't see around us. Miracles happen when God teaches us, touches us, to open the eyes of those who can't see him. We owe him a miracle or two. We've had several in our life. All of us have. Most of us have children, and that's a miracle. Most of us still love our children, and that's a bigger miracle. Never give your kids your PIN number. But how do we put the mud in the eye that will make the blind man see? How can we touch the eyes of those who don't see Christ so that they can see him? God will let you know. God will lead you. God will teach you. And you can do it. I made a misstatement before the March Noisy Can goes to Encore instead of the May goes to... Yeah, you're supposed to correct me because you were there. I mean, that's the first time I've been wrong since the last time I thought I was wrong and I wasn't. Which wasn't that long ago. Blind, yeah. We're blind. We're blind to the things that are beautiful. We're blind to the things that we need to do. We're blind often to the love of God. But we come here on this morning, and I trust that you feel the Spirit around you and the love around you, and you just can't wait to get out and do things. So the first person you read, knock them down, get right in their face, tell them they ought to love God more than they do. Or not. No. But the next time you can sit beside someone and have a chance to mention how much God loves you, just whisper it. You don't have to shout it. Live it. They'll hear it. Live it. Amen. We're going to close this morning with Precious Lord, Take My Hand, number 474. And if you can, please stand.